Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson. Today we're listening to Interrogation Raw. This is Left for Dead in the Cold.
A young father found brutally beaten.
He was on the side of the road, hogtied, and left for dead.
A mother leads investigators to four potential suspects.
How much police stations did you leave these days 10?
Investigators searching for answers.
Well, obviously.
She's definitely hiding something.
In the interrogation room.
Want to know when you get the truth. Ready?
Every suspect accused of the crime has the right to remain silent. Many agree to be interrogated anyway, but they can stop the interview at any moment, making it a race against time. Justice hangs in the balance.
What is the address of the emergency?
Hi, I just drove on North Hudson Street in Chester, and
Okay.
I just saw a body on the side of the road. I'm not sure if it was. I drove past it twice.
Okay, slow down now. Tell me exactly what happened.
It looked just like a pile of clothes, but as I got closer, I saw shoes, and I think it was a person.
Over there as soon as possible.
Two patrol units, they come up onto the scene. Right away, they realize this is a person that's been bound up and is obviously bloody.
His arms were tied and bound behind his back, and his feet were also bound and tied. He was unconscious, and his breathing was very labored. The officers noticed several bruises and contusions to his face. It was about 15 degrees. It was freezing. He had a jacket, his jeans or pants, and he didn't have shoes on. Officers called for an ambulance, and he was immediately rushed to the hospital.
We knew his name was Michael Partridge. We knew that he was a resident of Chester. He's got a family. He's got a grandfather. He's got a mother. He's got a child.
He was left on the side of the road in the middle of winter, essentially hogtied, and just left for dead.
Michael Gregory Partridge was my son. We had a very special relationship. We were more best friends than father and son. We were just there for each other.
I remember when he was born, he was so sweet and so cute. Michael was very outgoing, always making people laugh, very loyal and devoted to his family.
Growing up, he was always very protective of his sister and mother. We were all very close.
Michael had a 3-year-old son, Michael Jr. Baby Mikey was the love of his life.
Love you.
Love you.
Him and Michael Jr. were attached to him. Like, you couldn't get them apart.
That was the one thing I think he was most proud of in his life, is being a dad.
He became a great father, and it brought us all closer.
Sometimes we wanted to pull our hair out with him. Michael didn't always make the right choices. It was very frustrating for all.
My son had drug problems, but he was fighting it, fighting it hard. He couldn't get that demon off his back right away.
He wasn't perfect, but we loved him unconditionally, no matter what.
When we get to the hospital, and they told me, I'm sorry, there's nothing we could do. It was shocking.
Family members mentioned Courtney Clemenza as being Michael's girlfriend. Courtney lives with her mother, Regina Clemenza. We went to the residence and we made contact with Regina, and Courtney Clemenza is not at home. We advised her that Michael Partridge was found assaulted. Regina said that she had a text conversation with Courtney earlier that night about Michael Partridge.
This text exchange is the first real lead on how this happened. Courtney says he got his ass kicked. Regina responds, did he by who? Courtney responds, Bobby. He death broke his ankle ribs. I saw his blood squirting while he cried, Bobby, stop.
Based on the text messages, Courtney has witnessed a brutal assault of Michael Partridge at the hands of a specific person she referred to as Bobby. Where that scene is, we still have yet to determine. We really need to find Courtney Clemenza.
Seat right there. I'm gonna sit here. What did you hear exactly happen?
I didn't hear somebody doing a beating.
Who did you hear throwing the beat?
I think that's what my Bobby.
Who did you hear this from?
Courtney.
Courtney told you
I
that.
didn't hear it. She texted.
What did she say specifically happened to him?
He got him good in his ankles and his ribs, I think. That's what he said.
The person who got him good was.
And then it was Bobby.
Courtney's not home. Where was she at?
Bobby and Seth house.
From Regina Clemenza, we get the names Seth Pelsan and Robert Haskell. Courtney is hanging out with them that night. It was decided that having Regina call Courtney would be our best shot at Courtney responding. You always pick up for your mom.
Hello. Are you at my house right now? I'm in the police station. I've been here since 1 o'clock in the morning because of you and your douchebag friends. You know what I mean? Where are you? My house or Bobby's house? Because the cops want to talk to you, that's why.
Courtney, we just want to investigate the road. We just want to meet up with you, make sure you're okay. Where can I meet you? Yeah, quick check and Goshen. We'll see you there in a couple minutes.
We gathered up a couple teams and we went over to the gas station. We're set up. A car pulls in. Courtney gets out of it and she goes into the quick check. I go to the car. I can see there's someone else in the passenger seat. I get him out. I notice there's a person not moving, sitting real quiet in the back. I get him out. We were greeted by not only Courtney Clemenza, but she brought Bobby, which is Robert Haskell, and Seth as well.
There were already folks that we knew that we needed to speak to, and they just fall right into our lap. Definitely a huge break.
got a seat. Have a seat, Courtney. I want to take that chair. If you don't mind.
We know some people now, so we need to talk to you about what you might know about that. All right?
Seth resides in the same house as Robert Haskell, but we didn't know if he was involved in the assault or not.
Talk us through your day.
I woke up in the morning and my room got Courtney, and she came back to go shoot me.
Okay, to your home address. Where was Bobby?
He was at my house.
Seth was tough. Right out of the gate, he's closed off. He had almost no eye contact. He was very fidgety, couldn't sit still in his chair. You can see him look up at the camera a number of times. Everything was screaming dishonesty.
What goes on there?
Leaves me out and just.
That's actually a 20-second delay before he says anything. And when that happens, it's important to let them break the silence.
Dude, here, I don't want to incriminate myself or anything.
Truthfully, what happened? This is important, Seth.
I know. That's why I'm thinking about it.
It's very vital for you to be honest. It's the brave thing to do. I know. It's the right thing to do.
Can I have you just want to have a cigarette? It's okay, please.
Yeah, it's really
I figured he was going to have a cigarette and we're going to come in and we're going to start seeing results.
So we're back where we left off. And what?
I was just hanging out, make some food and stuff, macaroni and cheese and stuff like that.
Okay. Then what?
I think I do need a lawyer present to continue. Sorry.
Coming back in after that cigarette break, I didn't see it coming. I was quite surprised that he would ask for a lawyer.
When somebody requests an attorney, the interview ends at that point. I was definitely frustrated.
Right. Unfortunately, you still can't leave. We're going to be here for a bit because everybody else is talking. So we got to, see where the cards are going to fall.
Seth was just on standby until we completed the other interviews. I think the more he thought about it, he went into self-preservation mode. He relayed to one of the troopers that he had changed his mind and that he wanted to speak to us now.
Okay, Seth.
Seth had lawyered up. So this is a very delicate situation. We're able to listen to what he has to say, but we can't continue with questioning because it'll get thrown out.
Go ahead and say whatever you need to say.
Me and Courtney were sitting down in the living room, and obviously we were watching TV and eating like macaroni and cheese and everything, and all of a sudden we heard a big bang from outside. We were like, what the hell? He was lying, he had a gun. He took the shotgun and he shot through the front door of the house. He came right in with that shotgun loaded and he started chasing us up the stairs. And I ran into my room. I opened my door and I saw there's a guy that stays across the hall from me He had him like pinned down, had him, like subdued or whatever. And then Bobby just started hitting him with the bat. I thought to like subdue him at first, He slid him down the stairs and then brought him outside. So then they got a tarp, put it in the back seat, and put Mike in there. And Bobby made us go with him and drop him off like over by his house.
Okay. Sit tight, hold for a second.
He's willing to tell us that he saw Rob strike Michael with a baseball bat. And that's a big piece of the puzzle. Now we have Seth's version of events to compare to the other interviews.
At that point, investigators had an address for Bobby, and we were able to get warrants for the house.
Processing the scene. Knew a door was damaged. Knew there was a struggle inside the house. Our major crime unit advised me that a fourth person, Tim Smith, who was one of the residents of that house, had just arrived back at home. So we needed to get him interviewed to see what information, if any, he had.
This guy named Mike. You ever seen him? Do you know who I'm referring to when I say this? No? Okay. What went down at the house last night?
Well, I really couldn't tell you. Like, stuff could go on and I won't be there.
It was 100% a major issue that went down at that house that you're well aware that Rob got involved in.
Why in the world would I know a story about confrontation that took place? That doesn't make any sense. Whatever went down, I wasn't there for it. I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
He was just denying any knowledge of the situation. So I'm going to just hit him with what we know to try to gauge his response and see if that's enough to crack him.
We know exactly what happened. We know who Mike is. We know that he comes in acting crazy. You latch onto him. We know that Rob starts hitting him with the blue bat that's in the bathroom. We know this. This is not a mystery. It is what it is. Shut down. Not ugly.
I'm telling you what I know. I've done that.
Okay. We'll take this step by step. Did you hear Rob in a physical altercation? Did you hear him moving around?
I just saw him screaming for me. That's it.
So now what do you do?
I open my door, look out.
And what do you see?
There's a guy there with a rifle or something.
Okay. Now what?
Got the gun away from him.
Did you grab the gun itself or you grabbed him?
I swear him.
You just like bear hugged him? Okay. When did Rob hit him with the bat? When you were on his back? Okay. Where did he hit him that you saw?
The feet. His feet, his legs.
Just his feet and his legs. Anywhere else?
Probably in his head.
And what happens now?
I got my stuff together. I got out of there.
Okay.
Courtney Clemenza's interview becomes important because we know that she's seen what happened. She texted her mother, and those text messages can't go away. It's too late. We already have them.
Puts her at the crime scene and puts her seeing a murder. You can't run from that.
It's all or nothing at this point. Was she a witness, a victim, or participant in the death of Michael Partridge?
I miss Michael's laugh. I miss watching him interact with his son. I'll never forget what a proud dad he was. Michael's passing devastated his family. Their lives will never be the same without him.
So this morning, I was at my friend's house, and we're sitting in the living room. What friend? Yeah. And first we heard like a tapping. Wasn't even like 10-15 minutes, and that's when we heard like a shot at the door. And like it was just crazy. I thought like slow motion, I swear to God. And he must have shot like at the door to open it, like with a rifle. This was somebody. Yeah. He went to go lunch at my friend's house. And I just like panicked. I mean, Seth got like went out of his hand, so I kind of just left for a little bit. And I came back and I was gone. Who's there when you come back? Seth, and Bobby. Mike wasn't there. No.
We knew via the text messages that Courtney saw a beating occur. She leaves that window of time out. So she's definitely hiding something. And not only hiding something, she's trying to keep us away from somewhere else.
This is your only shot. I know the text messages you sent to your mother, and I know that you witnessed it. It was mostly Bobby. Like, because I heard Michael say, Bobby, stop. And I was just screaming. I was just screaming, stop. Because I just heard the bat. I don't know what he was doing. And I just heard Michael screaming, help me. And Bobby, please stop. I kept hitting him with the bat. And then, like, I just heard Mike say, Bobby, stop. Bobby, stop. 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 Where was Bobby hitting him? He was between the back and the head, the wrist. He was hitting him every and anywhere. With a baseball bat? Yeah. Was it a wood baseball bat? No, metal. Was it a metal baseball bat? Yeah. If you had a guess about how many times Bobby hit him with the bat? It had to be at least 30. Like, it just kept going. Yeah, and how long did that go on for? It was only, I mean, in reality, I think maybe 20 minutes. It seemed like a lifetime. And then I tie him up. So they were. Pause for a second. Who said time up? Because you know Bobby said time up. Who was he talking to? He saw the staff. So I saw him tying his arms. And you saw who? Staff time? What did he tie him up with? He cut him from the vacuum. He cut he plugged into the wall to the vacuum, the cord. They tie him up with you said they cut the vacuum cord. Did they tie him up with anything else? I saw duct tape. They throw him outside. And then he's just laying there, and then he's like, moving around, trying to get out. I did hold his arms down, I'm like, Mike, it's gonna be faster if you just stop moving around. And what did Mike say to you? He just, and then they brought him by the car. He took him in the Toyota, my car. Who took him in the Toyota? Seth and Bobby. And where did they take him? I told them to take him to his grandpa's. Okay. And they left.
She's saying, hey, listen, this is what I saw. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't help them at all.
Now we're trying to figure out how much did she take part in it, if at all.
Honesty is all enough, right? So you can't tell 80% of the truth and leave out the part where you look at. And she slapped me. Who did? Bobby. Bobby slapped you where? Across my face. Okay. He made me drive it. So you drove the car? Yeah. He told me to get in the driver's seat now. Who told you that? Bobby. And that's when I knew that you get them anything. They were just pacing around. And what happened then? I've been on the phone and like laughing and. What was he laughing about? He was just like, this one came up and my house was gone. And like, I don't want to kill him. I should have just finished him off. And then like laughing about it. Why did Mike go there tonight in the first place? Mike was planning to rob him. Who's him? Bobby. Why Bobby? Because he's got like a big amount of cocaine, a big amount of heroin, and he's got $25,000 of cash in his house at all times.
She admits that there was a pre-planned robbery that was supposed to take place.
We're wondering how she knew about this plan maybe Courtney's involvement isn't as innocent as she says it is.
She's making a shift from being a witness to being an active participant.
When did Mike tell you he was planning to rob Bobby?
Last week, he was like dabbling with the idea.
Robert is known to be a drug dealer. Michael was struggling with an addiction. He had no money.
He's like, I have no more fight in me. And like, he just was broken down and was crying. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. She was like, well, if I could get that cash, that would be, that would just get upset. We could get an apartment, we could get a car. So he's kind of like, the wheels were turning.
Okay.
We were going to make a plan, like,
what was the plan going to be?
Like, he asked me where the rooms were, so I told him to place me in the room.
Did you write them down?
Yeah. It was a map of, like, the house. It was kind of like a layout of the house. So he asked me, like, who lived there, and I said, you don't want to, and then I got Tim's phone.
What did he specifically say?
He had asked me, like, can you get Seth and Bobby out of the house?
Mm-hmm.
But it was never a set in stone date. Because I told him I want to get them out of the house, so there was nobody there.
Why?
And I didn't know what Bob was capable of.
So you guys have this conversation about who's in the house. It would make sense if you were also discussing where the drugs are in the house.
Yeah, Bobby's room. Yeah, it's like this little portable safe. But, like, because I said, like, I told, like, I don't know exactly where it would be, because sometimes it's in the closet, sometimes it's under the bed, sometimes it's in Bobby's arm.
So now you're talking to Mike. You're in essence telling him where the safe may or may not be. Yes. That the drugs are going to be in his room. That Tim, if he's there, don't do it.
Yeah.
Didn't he tell you he was going to rob the place that night?
No, he did not.
If I put you on a polygraph right now.
Yeah, I would pass.
Okay.
I swear to God.
She admits she drew a map that was ultimately located on Michael himself. He had that map. So she's a participant at this point.
You're part of this. And it's not out of control.
Yeah.
From you having a conversation with Michael days before he shows up at the house, you have conversations with him about where the drugs are, who holds the drugs, how much there is, even detail a map to him.
They were not supposed to be in the house.
But they were.
Who are you with tonight? Courtney Clemenza and my friend Seth.
He was sweating profusely. It was freezing outside, and he was just sweating on the top of his head. It's a biological response, and it is telling. It means that there's somebody under stress or someone has something to hide.
So what's going on there? What are you guys doing? Chilling, eating, watching TV. Anybody else in the house? No. No. Does Courtney date anybody? I know she had a boyfriend. Who's the boyfriend? I think his name is Michael or Mike or something like that. What was the last time you saw Mike? That's a good question. When last time I saw Mike about, I want to say 2 days ago? Not yesterday, but the day before. Did you talk to him at all or anything like that? No, no.
He glossed over the day like nothing remarkable had happened. So, yeah, 100% I knew that he was withholding information. This is the time we have to give a little bit. Let's see where it goes. But we're not going to tell Robert Haskell that Michael was dead.
If we were to start right off the bat that Michael had died, that would put up a wall that we just wouldn't be able to overcome.
Mike, right? You got beat up. That's what it is. No bad, like, I mean, you got beat up. I mean, it's not anything that, just a few days rest might help him out. Okay.
You could kind of see the wheels moving in Robert's head, like, wait a second, maybe I didn't beat him up that bad. I may be able to spin this story so that I am walking out the door. At that point, Robert sits up as, okay, all right, let me tell you exactly what happened. That right there that was the turning point.
We need to talk about things because your version of events, there's some things missing out of there. So let's clear it up now. Yeah. All right. I appreciate it.
I live in Kid World now. All right, with my friend.
Okay, what's your friend's name?
Tim.
Tim. Okay. Just Tim?
Tim, Seth. Seth was there too.
Okay. So it's you, Tim, and Seth.
Courtney's our friend. Mike goes somewhere else around. Comes over there. He shoots my door off from the branches.
Kicks it.
With a shotgun. Tim grabs him. Comes up to my room. My door is off the ground.
The front door?
The front door he shoots.
That's not
the room door. He hits. Tim grabs him. We yanked the shotgun out of his hand. And
it was huge because prior to that, we really didn't have a solid link to him and Michael interacting that evening.
Are you ready to go and go off?
No, he's pointing the shotgun. Because the first one he shot.
Yeah, that's the front door. The front door of the house.
Front door to the house.
Okay.
So when I said, like, what the boom. And it was for Tim. What happens? I know one of us got shot. That jams on him. Jams on.
So how many times did you shoot the gun?
Once, and that second one was going to be twice.
So he makes it in the house? After he shot?
He shot the house. Yeah, he made it in the house. Tim just grabs and dials on him. And Seth grabs, takes the gun.
And then what happens?
Whipped his ass.
You and Tim, you whoop his ass. Punch him? Did you hit him with anything? No. But Seth beat his ass too? No. And then what happens? Where'd Mike go?
I don't know where he went. He left.
We know that that's not the case. Clearly, Michael did not leave on his own accord. I believe that he was trying to convince himself that all he did was beat somebody up. To Robert, he's sort of justified in those actions.
Michael's entering the house. If he's entering it with this deadly weapon, people in that house have a right to defend themselves. But once Michael is disarmed, they're no longer justified in what they do.
So there's certain things that are coming to light. Okay, because other people are talking, having conversations. Okay? Is that correct? It's a yes? Okay. All right? Let me ask you a question. Right? Who tied him up?
I ain't gonna lie. It was me, man. The reason why he was out of control, man. There's no way in the world I could have just hit that in his back and double. So, and a piece of
I got a sheet like a cord?
Yeah, a piece of that sheet.
Okay. Where's your friend? Now listen, there's the Chester.
We took him almost to his back.
Now who's we? Listen, I get it, but you got it. Okay. Okay, who else? Listen, I know.
Do I need somebody to help me? I know it was wrong, but I just didn't want to hold my house. After that.
Yeah.
You can see it, his body language. Slumps back down, hand over top of the head. He just completely shuts down.
What was the conversation between, like, everyone in the car on the way over and the way back? Like, what kind of conversation is going on?
I'm swearing the calling.
Yeah. What are you saying?
Like, yo, what the how the did he even follow me? How the did he even get over here? Like, what's this about? Like, he act like we did something. What we doing is being your friend. And we getting all this good with him. How the did he follow where we lived at? How the did he follow your ass over there? Like, when are you gonna leave this motherfucker nice coming over here?
He's starting to realize Courtney must have told Michael that Robert had drugs, had money at his residence.
Oh,
You could see him in his mind thinking, wait a second, maybe I was set up.
oh, damn.
Maybe the whole purpose of this was for someone to come over and rob me of my drugs or my money. The more he thinks about it, the more Robert gets upset.
Oh, God, man.
He was extremely angry, extremely frustrated. He knows what took place, and he knows that we know the truth.
Who's got the baseball bat in the house? Oh. Is it your baseball bat or is it somebody else's? It belongs in the house. What color is it? It's a blue one. It's right in the back. I'm not even around. You don't understand. He pulled the gun out, man. Yeah, I was going to get in with the bat, but I'm just. It was a situation where we didn't want that happened. He came there. He came there. He had it. He had it coming, man.
I can say without a doubt at that point, he's not walking out the door.
Oh.
Search warrant for Robert Haskell, Black Jack.
I don't know if you realize, but probably 1 year old. He's dead. He's dead. All right? You get charged for it. You survived everything? Yeah. Why? What he left? We took him away from me. He wasn't there when we left. We left. Yeah. Yeah. Your actions in this, right? Yeah. Do you feel you did something wrong? Yeah. What do you feel you did wrong specifically? I didn't call the police. What else? Your actions I'm talking about. I wish I would have went outside and just told him to leave or just left with him or something. Just walked far with him. So that's this one happened. So all three of you drive him out to a roadway. Set him on the roadway in the slush, the snow, the ice, and the cold. Down so he can't move or walk away. Right? And you thought leaving him there was better, right? By your own mission. That was better for him. How is that better for him? I didn't put him out. No, I know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Stupid. I know. I just wanted him away from that house and away from him.
looking at that interview and watching her, those tears are for Courtney. That's it. Those aren't for Michael. Those are for Courtney.
Through all of that, not once did she ask me how Michael Partridge was doing. Is he okay? Is he alive? Is he being treated for his injuries? None of that.
It solidifies the fact that she has real lack of remorse for what happened to Michael. Beating Michael 30 times with a baseball bat, Bobby is the most culpable. Of the four of them, Seth was the most remorseful. He was willing to plead guilty to the manslaughter in the first degree with a sentence of 9 years in state prison. Timothy Smith pled guilty to manslaughter in the second degree, and he was sentenced to 1 1/3 to 4 years in state prison. The brutal beating that was inflicted upon Michael was so just tragic because he didn't have to die that night.
If the police were called, Michael would have gotten arrested. He would have received drug abuse assistance, possibly help set him on the right path.
Looking at Michael and at his son who will now grow up without his father, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
I would give my last breath just to rub my son's head, you know? It's hard. I love you.
I love you.
My grandson, he's doing good in school, and, he's such a good kid. I can see so much of his father in him.
Michael was still here, I feel that he would have gotten his life on track and he would have lived a long, happy life, all with his family by his side. Our memories with him will hold them in our hearts forever.
An elderly woman killed in her own home. The case unsolved for decades until new evidence points to a suspect. At first, a woman beloved in her community is found murdered in her living room. Investigators searching for answers.
Homicide? Like someone died in it?
In the interrogation room.
Murder.
You!
Every suspect accused of the crime has the right to remain silent. Many agree to be interrogated anyway, but they can stop the interview at any moment, making it a race against time. Justice hangs in the balance.
We just came into a friend's house and she's dead.
Does it appear to be natural or you don't know?
I don't know. Somebody tried to break it. I got his car.
Alright, Sam, how long is he okay?
Oh my God. I'd say for about 20 years for sure. we located the victim in her living room. She was lying on her couch, face up, and appeared to be wearing a nightrobe. She was laying in an odd position. It appeared that a struggle had taken place.
There were several things at the scene that weren't adding up. Most of the house was neat and in order, except for the room where the victim was found. The rope stash did appear to be in an odd place. It was lying on the floor near Patricia's hand, not around the robe like you would typically see a robe worn. The victim's vehicle was missing. According to the neighbors, nobody would have had permission to take the vehicle. Another thing missing from the house was a television set from the second floor. The fact that there were no signs of forced entry, we did have a theory that this might be somebody the victim would have had known and had access to the house. We're photographing, we're looking for physical evidence. Every little detail can make a difference in a case like this.
Patty was an adventurer. She had a thirst for knowledge. She loved travel, and she had a wicked sense of humor. She enjoyed outdoors, gardening, her flowers, and really just being there for other people. She was divorced, and she had 2 sons. She loved her boys, and she was very close to them. She had done a lot of philanthropy type work. If you were in need of anything, she would be there to help you. A friend called me and told me she's gone. She's dead. And I broke down. It was gut-wrenching.
When I spoke to Daniel Dresser, he told us that there had been a break-in, and the person that Patricia suspected committed the break-in was Spencer Spielman. Spencer had been a friend of Patricia's other son, Nick Dresser, for quite a while, and Daniel Dresser told us that Spencer had approached Patricia asking for money. So Patricia would give Spencer money for helping out around the house, helping with the artwork, and Patricia had given him a garage code to get in the house.
She started noticing things missing, and she started getting a really weird feeling.
Wednesday, prior to her death, she said, Spencer keeps bugging me about wanting Nick's really nice watch. She said, I've really hid it in a great place. They'll never find it. Patty told me about Spencer stealing a few things when she wasn't home, and she thought he was looking for that watch. So she started texting him, and she was pretty mad about it. She also was texting her son Daniel about what was going on, and one of her texts was, I'm feeling a little scared.
The autopsy showed that the cause of death was strangulation.
The item used for the strangulation was, in fact, the rope sash that was lying by Patricia's hand. So it was confirmed that this was a homicide. We were keeping all options open to any possibility of involvement with anybody. But at this point in the investigation, we were looking pretty hard for Spencer Spielman.
911, what's your emergency? Did you guys find the blue Taurus that was stolen from Patty Dresser's house last night? I have no idea. Well, there's one sitting here at the Village Pastry on South Line right now that is matching. Who's with the car? 2 white guys?
Put your hands up
with me. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop.
Ultimately, Spencer Spielman was identified as the driver of the vehicle. The second occupant was identified as Brandon Humphreys.
Anytime we have more than one person, we separate them so they can't talk and work their stories out.
I decided to interview Brandon Humphreys first to see what he knew about Spencer in the past 48 hours. Well, we're looking into something very serious, okay? Do you know why you're here? Why you were shot?
Absolutely not. I'm baffled right now.
Okay. Who's the guy that you're with?
His name's Spencer.
Okay.
He's an old friend of mine.
Obviously, you're in the car with him tonight. What do you know about the car?
He told me it was his mom, Patricia's. And he went to the gas station, and, I kind of got a little nosy, opened the glove box, and sure enough, there was a registration that said Patricia on it, so.
When he gave the information about the car belonging to Spencer's mom, that was a red flag. We obviously knew this wasn't true. He said you don't know anything about the car other than it being his mom's.
I'm kind of already putting two and two together.
Okay. The car's stolen. Okay. And you being a stolen car doesn't look good. You understand that? That's what we're back here, and there's a bigger issue than that. The stolen vehicle you're in is attached to a homicide.
Homicide? Like someone died in it? He's starting to get nervous. His right knee is starting to bounce a little bit. He's not sure what's coming next.
What can you tell me that's going to help us clarify some things?
There were really no conversations about the car itself. He just said his mom was letting him borrow it. And I'm going to just tell you this now, just in case it pops up in the future. I did buy a TV off him. He said it came from his mom's house. So now I'm starting to think if the car was stolen.
What kind of TV was it?
It was a 55-inch Hitachi TV. And I took it to a pawn shop because I knew it was going to be running.
If you feel like you're holding something back to protect him?
No, at this point, I don't give a less about him.
Okay.
Because he had me in a stolen vehicle, and now I'm learning about there was is attached to a homicide.
Where our homicide happened, would there be any reason your DNA would be on any evidence inside the house?
Absolutely not. No.
If we get information from somebody else that you were involved and we're going to prove that, it's not going to look good. Are you sure there's nothing else?
I promise you there's nothing else. I know I'm innocent about all this.
I'm going to have you stand against this wall.
Sit down. Sit down, man. Tell me what you think you're here.
Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, obviously the car.
Okay.
How do you let me use it?
Okay. Well, that's what we need to get to the bottom of.
I go over there to her house once or twice a week.
And then we're talking about
Patty. And I clean her house and stuff. Like she pays me like $100 once a month. Do all the windows.
Okay.
Like clean her floors. First impression of Spencer is he's just nonchalant, no respect for anybody. He didn't have a care in the world. I was cleaning and she got into a fight with some
to get
old
my
timers
carpet
over there.
cleaner fixed, or I might have to go.
I went down. I was like, I'm leaving. She's like, oh. She was like, she let me take her car. She said just come back in the morning because she had to go to work. So she let me use her car. I come back in the morning. I couldn't get an answer from the door or anything. I didn't know what to do. I was just gonna leave her car in her driveway. The keys in it.
This old guy that she was with, who was he?
I have no idea. When I was upstairs vacuuming, I heard her yell, John, like 3 times. So I'm guessing his name's John, but I'm not sure.
When you left, did you see anything in the driveway?
I think it was like an Expedition. It was really nice.
What color was it?
White.
We had already talked to the neighbors and looked at the surveillance video.
We knew there was no other cars there. There was no John, no white Expedition, no nothing.
You have a key to get in the residence?
I do not.
Okay.
She always lets me in. She's always sitting in the garage.
Have you got the door code? Like the keypad for the
garage door?
Yeah. So Thursday morning, is that when you brought the car back?
I got there like 7. I waited for a couple hours. I'm not gonna lie to you all.
Okay. But you just never answered the door?
Mm-hmm. There was not an answer.
Spencer told us that he wasn't able to get a hold of Patricia, so he decided to go ahead and keep the vehicle at that point. So now we're into Friday today. What did you do when you woke up?
Went to Brandon's, loaded up one of his rims for his car. Went and tried to sell them. Pawn shops wouldn't give it for him.
So you guys pawned anything?
No.
Okay.
At this point, we already had video of Spencer and Brandon pawning a TV. So we knew that he was lying about that.
Well, we know you're lying.
I ain't lying about nothing.
We've already been checking with the pawn shops, okay? We know you pawn stuff. So you have to be honest.
In there on video.
We wanted Spencer to know that we know what happened, and sometimes a suspect will feel the inclination to confess. I just asked you if you pawned stuff. You told me no. So this is the time to be honest and clear.
I ain't being honest.
You pawned the TV.
Do what?
55-inch TV.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell us about that?
I didn't think it was.
You didn't think it was relevant?
Yeah.
Was there an agreement between you and Patty?
No.
For you to take that TV?
No.
Then why did you take it?
Because I needed money. That's the only thing I took from the house.
The moment that he admitted that he took the TV from the house, definitely felt like that was progress. So the TV you took, was she home when you took it?
Do what? No.
How'd you get in the house then?
The garage door clicky thing.
The White Expedition.
Mm-hmm.
They're on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the truth.
Yeah, it is. How is that not the truth?
There's video cameras. You gotta stop lying to us.
I'm not lying to you guys.
Okay. Yeah, you are.
We're shooting holes all in your story. This is a big, big deal.
What are you talking about?
What do you think we're talking about?
I'm not sure.
If you had to guess, what do you think?
I also think I stole the car.
The more that we start to challenge him, we call out his lies, the more closed postured, the more kind of standoffish he gets with us, the more argumentative he gets with us.
Can y'all just please tell me what's going on?
We'll give you the opportunity to tell us. We know the answer.
Burglary? What are you talking about, burglary?
Stolen car.
I didn't steal no car.
I was trying to get him agitated. Sometimes when you get somebody mad, you know, you get a different reaction. Go here, go there, go for the throat.
What's going on?
Murder. Murder.
I didn't kill nobody.
Apparently you did. The you sit here and lie about everything else. Why would you lie about that?
You stole her car.
No. What?
Broke in her house, stole her TV.
No.
Stole a car, stole a MiFi.
I didn't kill nobody or steal anything.
Then you better tell us who did.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't have the balls to murder anybody.
Maybe you didn't mean to.
What?
Everybody was frustrated at that point. And so sometimes you have to do an attention getter. Time to do it or the Hail Mary, let's throw the ball or go home. This is your opportunity to tell us what happened.
I don't
Why since you sit your ass in that chair? You know it. You sit there and thought it all up and you thought you had it all figured out.
No, I did not.
John. Who the hell is John?
I did not.
White trucks, we got video. There ain't no white truck around.
I didn't
Tell us
anybody.
anybody saved your life.
You.
You were there. She's dead. You got a car. I'm a jury member. What am I going to think?
I didn't kill her.
It's like you don't have any emotion that she did.
No, I care. I just don't show it.
Spencer, let me ask you this. Okay.
I didn't kill anybody.
We were getting nowhere. So we got to try something different here. So with Spencer, I said, okay, let's just go back. Walk me through it one more time and just see where it goes.
And he was able to, that dude. I'm not lying about that either.
We've gone over and over and verified the times on the video. There's no expedition there. Okay. Are you saying that just because you're scared?
Yeah. I didn't.
But there's no expedition. Right. We're finally getting somewhere. Okay. What were you scared about coming up with the story about her getting in the argument?
Oh, she was screaming at somebody on the phone.
But that was on the phone. Did she ever take any of that in here and turn it toward you? Like, did she tell me to get out of the house?
Pretty much. And as I'm walking out the garage door, I got hit in the back of the head with something really hard. And all I remember is waking up in the Walmart parking lot with a TV in the trunk.
It hadn't been hurt, right?
I don't know. It was in the garage. I don't know what she grabbed.
Was she cussing at you?
She was going nuts.
So now he's put himself in the house. He's put himself in contact with her. He's slowly surrendering to us. We just got that little bit more to go.
Do you ever remember her falling? Having to help her up?
I think, no, she did fall. She knocked the chair over.
Did you help her up at any point to like the couch? Did she fall down? That stuff.
Yeah, I walked her over to the couch.
So you helped her on the couch?
Yeah. And she laid down.
She had a robe on when you picked her up to the couch.
Yeah.
The robe with the strap where you tie it, that was on the floor?
Mm-hmm. It was right there by the couch, I think, on the floor.
So she fell out of the chair, you helped her onto the couch.
She hit you in the back of the head.
I took her car and left.
We know he's not being truthful. That's when we start throwing little bits of information to get his mind thinking, okay, they know a little bit. How much do they know? When we went to the autopsy, that robe, the marks around her neck, that robe was wrapped around her neck that time.
Oh, I didn't do that. Hell no.
We're trying to figure out how to get around her neck. I didn't choke her with it.
No, we're losing you. Everybody's just exhausted. So we were getting ready to have a little break.
You want a cigarette, right?
Sure. I took Spencer outside to go smoke a cigarette.
right identity at the door.
It was all video recorded on a body-worn camera to make sure there was nothing said or no promises made or no coercion or anything like that. Got him out of the room for a minute for a reset, and once we walked out the door, we did not talk about this case at all. He was kind of looking out into the darkness. And I don't know if that gave him an opportunity to see that we were actually human. After the smoke break, we walked back in. I put him in the chair, and I'm not sure why the smoke break had such an impact. Maybe he just realized that it's done. There ain't no way out of this. So I get Mike, and I'm like, hey, come on. He said he's ready to give it to us. And everybody's mouth just was open and all.
Guess you got a cigarette, huh?
When I let her down on the couch, like a few minutes later, she just came up freaking the out, hitting me, and trying to scratch at me. And I just tightened it left. I came back, and by that time, when I took it off, it was too late.
I was shocked.
I was shocked, but after he ended up confessing, it was that relief that we did get the truth.
The autopsy showed that it had been around twice before it was tightened. So we wanted him to say that he did do that because only the person who put it there would know.
So she's on the couch. She jumps up. Where was the belt, sash, whatever you want to call it, on the little table?
Did you talk about the table next to the table?
So somehow you managed to get that just around once or twice, and then
when he made the motion, he went, which would be twice, and then he pulled it. And he said he recalled pulling it tight. And he said after he did that, she fell on the couch and he left. He said he came back the next morning about 7 o'clock to feed the dog and noticed she was still on the couch. She was gray, and he knew at that time it was too late. And instead of calling 911, he just left. This was the longest interview that I've ever sat on. So to get it was great, to get a confession.
20-year-old Spencer Spielman is accused of strangling Patricia Dresser. He faces charges of murder, robbery, and driving while suspended.
We were very satisfied with the way the outcome was. At the end of the day, we're speaking for Patricia.
You have to stay resilient and determined to find the truth. And in this case, we were able to provide justice to Patricia and give her family answers.
Patty Dresser was 52 when her life was taken away. I think about her every day, and I miss her every day.
Flora Rundle was a widow. She was 71 years of age. She had no children, and she was very self-reliant. Her sisters tried to contact her, but wasn't able to reach her. So the two of them actually drove over to her place. As they approached the front door, they happened to notice that the front door was ajar, about 3 inches wide. They knew that was very unusual for Flora because she always would keep her door closed and locked. As they entered into the residence, one of the sisters went into the bathroom. Flora was lying on the bathroom floor, unclothed, with a pool of blood around her. One of her sisters actually picked up the telephone to try to contact 911, but the line was dead. A deputy sheriff verified that she was deceased. He also noticed the residence had been ransacked. Some type of a struggle had occurred. There was damage to the door, indicating that there was some type of forced entry. Our telephone line, which was connected into her residence, was cut just above the eave of her home. The deputy believed that this was some type of a suspicious death and contacted the homicide unit. Later on in the investigation, the autopsy revealed that Flora had been stabbed 11 times, probably with a knife 6 to 7 inches in length. We're back in the late 80s. Back then, there wasn't DNA. So as far as fingernails and swabs being collected, they really couldn't determine much.
Any idea who may have done this to Flora?
No, I have no idea. She was a fight person. She stayed by herself a lot. She didn't have girlfriends or children. She'd always get home before dark because she was afraid to go in the house at night. Can't imagine anybody wanting to go Flora other than the money.
And how much money would you say she had?
She told me a while back that she had $2,000. I'm sure she had that money. I'm positive. I said to her, now don't tell anybody that you got this money, Flora. You gotta be quiet.
But where did she have the money?
She had it in her purse, and she found it there in front of me. She said, I carry it with me. It's that sort of place it's safe. She says, I have no children or anything. She says, I'm saving it toward my burial.
And who else would she have told about the money?
There was a nephew of mine, Harold Whitehead, that used to come and see her.
Would she have told Harold about the money?
Maybe she would have.
Flora routinely would talk to other family members about having these $20, $100 bills in this prescribed medication bottle that she would carry around with her. She made that known to her family so that at some point, if she passed away, she's not going to be a burden on her other siblings. The detectives went and canvassed the neighborhood. They were not able to locate that medication bottle with the money inside.
Did you know if Flora had any money?
She sat right here and showed it to me.
She hoarded her money, and she didn't trust banks. What about Harold? He would go see Flora a lot. What kind of person's Harold?
Her and Harold are good friends that he drinks.
Yeah.
And when he drinks, he goes crazy. And she didn't like him around if he was drunk. She said, all he comes here for is he want more money to get more booze.
Personally, myself, I feel the motive for her death was probably robbery. I want to know where the hell the money went.
Some of the information that we received from the sisters was that Flora didn't drive and would occasionally use taxi services to get to doctor's appointments and to the grocery store. So detectives contacted the taxi companies, and they actually were able to identify a couple of different taxi companies that had picked up Flora. After making contacts with the taxi drivers, detectives didn't believe they had any information regarding the death of Flora. I really believe detectives did everything they possibly could back in the 80s, and it just kind of came to a point where they didn't have anything else to go on. They're just kind of at a dead end. Today, technology has greatly advanced. After reviewing the case, I realized there were fingernail clippings and there was a pair of slacks found on Flora's bed at the time of the crime that potentially could yield DNA. I submitted those two items to a private lab for testing. They were able to determine that there was DNA from an unknown male on Flora's fingernails and also on her slacks. There was a match on the DNA, and the match came back to an individual by the name of Gary Dean Hilfiger. So I started doing research on Gary and realized that he was already in the Utah State Prison for another murder that actually occurred in 1992, so it would have occurred after Flora Rundle's murder. His parole date for the 1992 homicide was April of this year, 2022. So the next step would be to go and try to interview Gary. I did as much research as I possibly could do, but in these cases, it's always a gamble. I never know whether they will talk or won't talk. Hey, Gary. My name is Ben, and this is my partner, Todd. Gary was very well versed with the criminal justice system. I wasn't going to be surprised if he would have just asked for an attorney, and that would have been the end of the interview. The case that I'm investigating happened back in 1989, and it involved a lady by the name of Flora Rundle. Her sisters found her deceased. I believe during that time you were a cab driver. Yeah. Since that time, obviously, technology and different things change, and I was assigned a case. I want to be able to take your side of the story.
I vaguely remember this person, don't remember her from work.
Did you take her places sometimes?
Right.
Okay.
I know I've done some stuff out there. But I don't know if I did this, I can't say I did or didn't. Because I don't remember.
Do you remember the house that she lived in? That little brown house there.
Must have been a
He was so stoic and not really volunteering any information, which made it an extreme challenge. We were concerned that he might not give us answers. So I'm looking for things that really mean something to get him to trust us. I know during that time you were involved in drugs, but I also know since that time, Gary, that you've been involved in religion. I know you found Jesus Christ, our Savior, and I know you changed your ways. Part of repentance is admitting what we've done. So what I want to talk to you about is what happened and why it happened.
Okay.
You're not a bad guy, Gary.
No, I'm a bad guy. That's why I'm in prison.
Wouldn't it be nice for people to actually see a change in you since you have found Jesus Christ? The old Gary was the one that didn't remember anything. But the new Gary is taking responsibility.
There's a lot of things I've done I don't know what I do.
When I started leaning into the faith with Gary, I could tell that he was conflicted. I could tell that he was either on the verge of saying, I'm done, take me back, or he's going to talk to us.
I want you to tell me the story of what happened with Flora. That's what I want.
I'm still looking at this house and it doesn't really click.
Jerry, there's things that we know happen because of physical evidence.
I was able to find your DNA under her fingernails. There's no reason for your DNA to be underneath her fingernails. There's no reason for your DNA to be within her house.
Why else would my DNA be there? Like what you said, that I was there. That I've had dreams about this. And maybe I did do this.
Can you tell me about those dreams?
I can't. I mean, it's like I'm there, but I'm not there, sort of.
Right. When he's talking about dreams, I think he's stalling for time for him to make a decision on which way he was going to go in this interview.
So what are the dreams?
They were just, I don't know, it'd be like a panorama, just a thing somewhere that I'm seeing this.
What kind of things would you see?
Was a struggle because I went there to Robert, I guess. And I said, that's because I can't really remember.
Did you cut the utility lines?
I probably did.
He's still trying to keep some distance with the dream aspect of it. Dreams are fine, but we want him to admit that he was actually at the scene. Having a confession makes it a lot easier to convict him.
Would you have used a heavy weapon?
Yeah.
Like what?
A knife.
How much money did you get?
Like a couple $100.
What was it?
In a person.
Were you afraid she may have recognized you?
Obviously.
So then after you took the money, that's when you stabbed her. Is that correct?
Yeah. I went that night in Brooklyn. She got up, asked me what I was doing. I told her I just wanted some money. And then I seen her purse, and I went to get it, and that was when the struggle began. I think I pushed her. She went down. I got the money, and she got up, grabbed it, and then I put up a knife and I killed her.
Did you plan on killing her?
Yeah.
Why Flora?
No reason in particular.
We were extremely happy that Gary admitted to murdering Flora Brundle. In this case, we just talked to Gary and we treated him as a human, and I truly believe that's why we got the results we got from Gary.
I was going to ask you guys if that you're
Sure. Be happy to. We ask the Father in heaven that He will watch over Gary and give him the comfort that he needs as he's made great strides since his past. We say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
It is with deep sorrow and regret that I write this to admit my responsibility in Flora's death. At the time when I murdered Flora, I was addicted to cocaine and drinking alcohol. No excuses. I was still responsible for my actions. I am deeply sorry.
He's very nice, Gary. Very good. I pray that you will find peace within yourself, knowing that you did the right thing today. These types of cases really emotionally take it out of you because one wrong move or one wrong word said could shut down the interview. Fortunately for us, Gary continued to talk and did the right thing for the family and everyone else involved. He pled straight up guilty to the charge, and he was sentenced to life without parole. And of course, the parole date for April of 2022 for the other murder was revoked as well. I was able to meet with Flora's relatives and give them Gary's apology letter. They appreciated the fact that he would write something to them. It makes it a lot easier for everybody involved when somebody's willing to take responsibility for what they've done. I've since learned from Gary that as they were driving over for the interview, a Christian song came on the radio. For Gary, I think the stars aligned, and I think he really believed it was time to confess to what he had done. He wanted to take responsibility, and he wanted to give the family some answers.